So take your time, arrive on your mat. You can either be seated for the beginning of the class or you can come into Shavasana. Whichever position you decide to begin your practice, just make sure that you are comfortable. If you're lying on the floor, you can have your knees bent. If you're seated, you could rest your back against a wall. Do any fidgeting that you need to do. And if you're happy to let your eyes close, then let your eyes close. So before we start our physical practice, we're going to be just coming into our presence at this moment in time. So let's just try and get rid of some of that distraction from our brain. So just take a nice deep breath in through the nose and let's sigh away any physical tension, giving the body to the floor. We can repeat that a few times. Just a few cleansing breaths, clearing away any busyness in the brain and allowing our cells to focus on the breath, the present moment. We're going to start just with mindful breathing, so breathing in through the nose and breathing out either through the nose or through the mouth, whatever is most comfortable for you. So this is the first installment of a 5-week practice or a 5-session practice. And I want to spend a little bit of time just introducing the theme for this sequence whilst you practice that mindful breathing. So please take your time to really breathe fully and deeply. If you need to move at any point and readjust your position, that is also okay. But with our breath, we want to think about breathing in and expanding the body, breathing out and letting go. Really keeping that awareness on the sensations of the body as we breathe. And if you'd like to listen, then please do. Otherwise, just keep your mind focused on your breath. So today's session, this first installment, is about setting our foundation and creating an intention for our practice. And I want to talk about the concept of practice from a yogic philosophy point of view. So practice in Sanskrit is pronounced ABHYASA. And it's a concept which is found in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Sutras 114. And one translation of that is practice becomes firmly established when it has been cultivated uninterruptedly and with devotion over a prolonged period of time. So as we begin this new 5-week installment of sessions, that ancient wisdom of ABHYASA reminds us that any change we want to make, any transformation, is not going to happen in a single moment or a dramatic leap. And often the new year or the new start of something brings pressure for instant change, immediate results. But when we look at our yoga philosophy, it teaches us something a little bit different. So ABHYASA is about showing up again and again with sincerity and dedication. It's not about perfection every time you practice, but it's that understanding that the cumulative effect of consistent effort over time is what matters. So just as a seed planted today won't bloom tomorrow, your intentions and your growth, they need time and they need patience and regular tending. So today, in this first installment, we're going to plant a seed, plant an intention, which is called a sankalpa. And just remember that the commitment to return to your mat, to your breath, and to yourself is what will help create lasting change. The practice itself is the path. And at the end of this session, we're going to practice a meditation and a visualization to help you understand what your intention is. What is it that you want to cultivate throughout the next 5 weeks? And the physical practice is also going to grow. Today, we're going to start with a foundation of movements, and each week they're going to get maybe more complex, but only to a level that works for you. So if you haven't already, what I'd like you to do is just come down onto the mat into a supine position, lying on the floor. And we're going to start just by making sure that we are comfortable before we begin, making ourselves aware of the feeling of the body, bringing our hands onto our outer rib cage, just checking in with that breath. We hopefully have created a bit more space and a bit more ease. We want that breath to be down low in the rib cage, and we want to feel the movement of those lower ribs as we breathe in and breathe out. So we're going to interlock our hands now behind our head, if that movement is available to us, letting the elbows move to the floor, feet are hip width apart or even wider, maybe as wide as your mat. And we're going to slowly take both knees to one side, bringing them back up to center, and then slowly to the other side. If this arm position isn't right for you, then you can have the arms down by your sides or keep them resting on your rib cage. Remember, the movements are slow, practiced with awareness. You don't have to bring your knees to the floor. If they reach there comfortably, then great. The speed that you work at, again, is up to you, but we want slow, mindful movements, really listening to how the hips, the back is feeling. And then hugging the knees towards the chest, knees together, bring the hands onto the knees and just move the knees around in whatever way feels good. You can keep the knees together, do circular movements in either direction, and then maybe separating the knees one leg at a time. We're really trying to check in with our hips and release any tension we might feel there. And then we're going to come onto all fours. And let's stretch our hands forwards, coming down into child's pose if that is available to you, bringing that chest towards the floor. Again, checking in with the breath in this position, trying to get the lower back feeling that movement as you breathe in and breathe out. Sometimes this position can feel quite strong on your arms. There is always the option to change that arm position for a position that feels supported for your, or supportive for your shoulders. So coming into our kneeling position, now we want our wrists below our shoulders, we want our knees below our hips, toes can be tucked under or not, and coming into ABHYASA, cat pose. Exhaling, rounding the back, pushing through the palms of your hands, breathing in, looking forwards, and actively slide those shoulder blades down the side of the body. Exhaling, drawing that tummy in a little bit as you breathe out. Inhaling, coming forward. So just work with your breath. The speed is dictated by your breath. And then we want to find our neutral spine. So we want to position our back so that it's neither too arched in one direction or the other. Exhale, engage the core and hover the knees off the floor. This can be quite strong, so if you need to, you can sit back into child's pose. How long you hold this for really depends on your strength, your pain levels, your energy for practice today. So we're hovering the knees off the floor and coming back down, exhaling, lifting up, shoulder blades slide down the sides of the body. If you need to rest in between, then do. And then gradually we're just going to lift the hips and we're going to come up into a very soft kneed, soft elbowed downward dog. So the hips go up and then we can come back down into child's pose. Now, how you work here depends on your strength levels, your energy levels. You could just hold the downward dog. If you want to come up and then come back down and rest in between, you can. Really make this work for where you're at today. And as you come up into that downward dog and you feel like you want to hold it for longer, you can start to walk those heels alternately down into the floor, have a bit of a wiggle in that pose. Remember, we're not pushing the upper body towards the chest. We want to think about lifting the sacrum. And then we're going to bring one leg forward. So we want the right foot forwards. And we're going to think about moving our weight backwards and forwards. So we're really coming into that lunge position and then trying to straighten the leg. We want to bring both hands inside the front leg. If we can add some movement in there. And then maybe think about bending those forearms, seeing if we can get the forearms down onto the floor. That may not be available to you, and that's okay. And then returning back to downward dog. And again, you've got a choice here. You can either rest in downward dog, come into cat pose, or go back into child's pose. It really depends on you and what you want in this moment. If you'd rather rest in something stronger, then stick with the downward dog. And then we want to repeat that on the other side. So downward dog, left leg comes up, swing that leg forwards. And again, moving that body weight forwards and backwards. Noticing any difference from one side to the other, bringing both arms inside the front leg and seeing if we can bend those elbows, maybe bring more contact between the forearms and the floor, just depending on what movement is available to you there. And then back into downward dog, and again choosing your next position, either downward dog, cat pose, or child's pose. Take your time here to breathe. And then we're going to rest back into child's pose. You might find that you want your hands by your feet rather than straight out in front of you, or potentially you can make fists and rest your forehead on your fists. It just depends on what feels most restful. If kneeling in child's pose is a problem, you could sit and hug your knees towards your chest, or lie on your back and hug your knees towards your chest. It's important to take some time to allow the body to be still. Back to that mindful breathing, awareness of the breath. And then coming up to standing when you're ready. And we're going to start with our mountain pose. So just spend some time connecting with your feet. Find your center of gravity. Find a neutral spine. Roll your shoulders. Take a few breaths, just allow your body to settle into that position. Bring the palms of your hands together, apply a little bit of pressure to engage the core, and then as you breathe out, we're going to bend the knees. Breathing in, coming back down. So we're just preparing ourselves for the movement. And again, you can practice in different ways here. Going down as you breathe out, coming back up as you breathe in. Or if you want to work in a little bit more a way that cultivates more strength, you can hold that position, hold that chair pose. If you press the hands together, it will help activate those core muscles. How long you hold it for is totally up to you. And then we can squat down and think about lifting one heel and then the other, and seeing how much lower we can go. So we're going to come into a balance now. And with our tree pose, there are lots of different variations and options here. If you're feeling a little bit unsteady on your feet, then keep one foot on the floor as you turn the knee out to the side, resting the heel against the leg. Really think about that core engagement. Make sure that you are in a fairly neutral spine. Press those hands together, which will give you a little bit more support. You can then change the position of that foot to be wherever feels most supportive for you, coming all the way up the leg. But it's really a personal choice. Now, at this point in the video, if you'd like to pause the video to extend how long you're balancing for, please do so. But we want to make sure we work on both sides an equal amount of time, finding the foot position that works for you. And then when you're ready, coming down onto the floor. You've got a few options with your leg position. You could have cross legs. You could straighten your legs out and bend the knees. Or alternatively, straight legs. Bringing the hands in between the legs on the floor in front of you. And we're going to come into a forward fold. So choose a leg position that feels supportive for you. Bring the hands down onto the floor, allow the head to come down with gravity. And I don't want you to worry about trying to get your head to the floor. What I want you to think about doing is breathing. As you're breathing out, maybe press the hands into the floor and gently imagine you're pushing the floor away. And as you breathe out, think about engaging that core. So exhaling, the core engages and will help to bring your lower back into a flex position. And over time, gradually, you might find that that allows you to bend further towards your mat. We have here a moment of stillness where we can really focus on the breath. Coming out, bringing the hands behind you, breathing in and feel that opening across the chest. Press the fingertips or hands into the floor as you squeeze those shoulder blades together. You can move between those two positions as frequently as you wish. You can move with the breath, or you can hold the positions and breathe for a longer period of time, deepening each stretch with each repetition. It really depends on what feels good in your body. And then lying on your back, hugging your knees towards your chest. And we're going to finish bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to fall out to the side, interlocking the hands behind the head and letting the elbows fall to the floor if that feels okay. Otherwise, keep the hands in a different position. Alternatively, you could lie with your legs up against a wall. If you want to experience the benefit of an inversion for the lower extremity. And again, we're going to take some time here just to breathe, be present. Again, you could pause the video here if you wanted to stay longer in that final position. And then we want to come to either a seated position or into Shavasana for our meditation. So allow your body to be comfortable in whatever position you decide is right for you. Make sure that you're warm. And allow your body to become still for the final part of our practice. So come to a comfortable position. You could be lying down or sat up. Whatever position you find yourself in, make sure that you're comfortable and warm. Readjust your position if you need to. Make sure your body is supported. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And then sigh all of the tension out of your physical body. Let go of any tension you may be feeling mentally. Let go of any stories you may be telling yourself. And just allow your body to be supported. Know that you are supported by the earth. Know that gravity holds you in place, holds you on the earth. So allow your physical body to let go and settle further into the earth as you breathe out. And then become aware of the black space behind your closed eyes. Notice any colours, any patterns, any movement or stillness or shapes you may be able to see. We're just observing. We're not controlling. And then I'd like you to bring your awareness to your hand. And I'd like you to imagine that in your hand there is a seed. Feel the shape of the hand. And this seed represents the beginning of something new. And I'd like you to spend a moment just to think about what this could represent to you. A new thought, a new way of being, a new commitment to yourself, a change in behavior, the seed of an idea, something that could grow within you over the coming year. And it may be that you're not really sure what that is yet. So you could just think or feel, is there something that I want to change? Where do I want to put my energy and thoughts in regards to transformation? And we want this to be positive. So rather than thinking about stopping something that you perceive as being negative, let's try and frame it as something you want to change and that positive outcome. Maybe a way you want to feel, a behavior you want to embody, an essence of yourself you want to cultivate and grow. And imagine that this is encompassed within this seed that you can feel within your hands. And then I'd like you to imagine that you are going to plant this seed. And you can plant it in a pot. You could plant it directly in the earth. It could be in your garden. It could be in an imaginary place or a real place. And I want you to feel the soil, the rich, dark soil, the fertile soil. And I want you to smell the earth. And I want want you to imagine that you are putting that seed, planting that seed into the earth. And this seed represents a sankalpa, your intention. And it's something that over the following weeks we are going to build upon. But today it's just the beginning, the idea, planting the seed of change and transformation to come. And now let's bring our awareness back to our breath. And as you breathe in, just imagine that you are filling your body with energy. And as you breathe out, you're sending that energy down into the earth to nourish that seed. With every breath, you are revitalizing your energy and sending it down into your sankalpa, into your seed that you've planted. And as you rest here, know that this seed will not sprout overnight. It needs time, it needs patience, it needs your consistent care, not just today, but tomorrow and the day after and the weeks that follow. This is practice. ABHYASA. Trust that with each time you return to your mat, each time you return to your breath, each time you return to yourself, you are watering this seed. The growth may be invisible at first, happening deep beneath the surface, but it is happening. As you rest, recognize that the seed that you've planted today is just the beginning. Your sankalpa will grow, not through merely wishing or hoping, but through ABHYASA, your commitment to return to this practice, to water this seed week after week, moment after moment. Trust in the process. Trust in your consistent effort. Trust in time. The practice you completed today is one of many, and it is in the many, the repeated showing up, the devoted returning, that true transformation takes root.
And just allow that visualization to drift away. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Become aware of your physical body, the contact points between your body and the floor. And know that our meditation is coming to an end. We can start to have a bit of a stretch. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rub your thumb against your fingers. And in your own time, when you're ready, open your eyes. Namaste.